Welcome back to Last Life Ever. My name is Jeffrey Holst, and that is Jillian Sidoti. Wave, Jillian. All right, today we have a really exciting guest with us. Jillian, do you know who that is?
I think it's Justin.
Justin Maxwell. How'd you guess? No. So Justin is a wealth and tax strategist with Big Life Financial, and he helps professionals maximize their human life value. I love that, a human life value, by helping them get their money and their life into a systematic focus so that they can spend time focusing on things that are more important. He's helped business owners around the country save or recover over $40 million. He's a father and a husband first, and he wants to help other people live the life they love. Sounds like us, right? And
I know.
That's why I'm excited to talk to him, and we're going to do that right after this.
Help me, my brother, can you lend me a hand as I walk through this land of confusion? If we give to each other, then there's nothing to take. Let's live life for the moment before it slips away.
Justin, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you for allowing me to be here. That was an awesome video.
Oh. Good. I'm glad you like it. You know, we probably ought to play that for people ahead of time because they say that a lot, and then we spend the first minute of our show talking about it like every time. And now I've successfully accomplished that again. But yeah. It is in line with what you're talking about with us today. It seems like you're a Big Life Financial. That's your company you and your partner started. Is really designed to help people figure out how to live the best version of their life. So I'm really excited to have you here. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what kind of stuff you do and like how you got started in it?
Yeah. So what we do, we do the typical wealth thing, the thing that most wealth people do, but our goal is not to do it to reach some end goal, but just to make it a part of your life so that you've created a wealthy life today or as soon as possible, so that you're able to make more decisions, have more experiences, have better relationships, and have that still working as it's moving. You're still creating cash flow. You're still growing and building wealth, but it's not someday in the future like what typically people are looking for. It's always, a lot of people are shooting to 65 or shooting to 70, and then I'll live the life that I want, and then I'll be retired, and then I can go do this, then I can go do that. We want to help people create a life that they can enjoy today that allows them to live the biggest life they can.
You know, it's funny you say that because I've always thought that number, the 65, like, what do you need? How much money do you need so you can retire at 65 was like I not to be a conspiracy theorist, but I find it to be the biggest scam ever, right? To force us to work until we're 65 or 70 years old. I have no interest in doing that.
Yeah, you know, Jillian, MJ DeMarco in his book, The Millionaire Fastlane, said the worst deal that we ever made was trading 5 days of our life for 2 days off. Like, no one would trade $5 for $2. We do it every week. We trade 5 days of our life for the weekend. But the even worse deal than that, it seems to me, is trading like 40 years of productive life for like 10 years of non-productive life. Right?
Yeah,
like, I mean, it's a horrible deal. And you know, Justin, you may not know this about Jillian and I, but both of us, you know, we're like in we're almost the same age. She's a bit older than me, but
I'm not even 4 months older than him.
4 months older than me, but we're both 45, and so, you know, we're still relatively young, and both of us are, you know, somewhere between self-employed and retired, right? Like we live in Puerto Rico. We you know, we get to travel a lot. We get to experience a lot of things, but not everyone in our audience has that. So like for you, like, how do you help someone get to where we are?
I think for me, the biggest impact that I help people realize is that they are the driver behind their wealth. Like, it's not an asset. Like, they have to make money first. Like, you have to be able to create money. Like, you're a creator and you have to be able to create it in your profession. So finding ways to increase your income is the first step to doing anything. Like, if you're stuck in a rut where you're not making very much money and you're living paycheck to paycheck, and there's more to that because you could be living paycheck to paycheck and be making a ton of money. That's not the person I'm talking about. I'm talking about the person that feels living paycheck to paycheck because they don't make enough money. The first step is increase your skills so they become more valuable in the marketplace so you can make more money, because that's the best way. That is the way to accelerate your wealth. Because even if, like,
just being totally honest with people, you have to make more money. It's that simple.
Yeah, that's it. And even if, like, for the people that are like, well, I did it through real estate or I did it through this means of investing, I can guarantee that you had to learn skills in order to do that. And that that became your profession or that your job. Yeah. Even if you're doing it through an investing means, you still have to increase your income some way. And that typically requires you to learn more skills, take bigger risks, try harder things, try a new job, start a business, do something that's going to give you more income on a daily, monthly, annual basis.
So if someone's got, like, let's say they're an engineer or a doctor, whatever, right? They're doing something where maybe they're a salary W-2 type employee. Would you say go find something else to do, or would you say, hey, find a side hustle, or is it some combination of that?
Yeah, so I think it depends on how much money people are making. Because let's just say if you're making $50,000, like, you need to find ways to increase your income. Like, I don't want to be, like, blunt, but you have to do, like, if you want to actually create the lifestyle that you two are both living, 50,000 isn't enough unless you're not living on anything. Like, you can do it if you enjoy not living on anything and not experiencing and traveling. Like, you can make 50,000 work in a financial independence way. But if you're really, but I'm trying to think of the best way to say this, because too often people think too small. So, like, they make 50,000 and they want to keep making 50,000. Like, we have to change the mindset that I'm worthy of 100,000. I'm worthy of 500,000. Like, I can earn that and I can do that. Like, I can get that. I think sometimes people at 50 and in that realm, I'm just using 50 arbitrarily, but this could be anyone along the path, is you set this mind of, I'm in this scarce mindset and I have a peak or I have a maximum ceiling. And you have to push beyond that. Like, wealth is a deliverance of value to the world. And it's a receipt of what you have brought and of what you have done to help other people to live or do something better. You've solved their problem and they're going to pay you for it. So I think if you're low, I'm not even saying low, 50,000, like, if you're just in that boat, believe that you can go higher. But if you're talking like an engineer or a doctor, they're typically in the 150 to 300 range. A lot of them. That's just what I've noticed. I think that is a range where you can actually start creating it without changing jobs, or maybe you could get a better skill where you increase it a little bit, but now you got to create efficiency on the dollars you've already made. So you've already made a dollar, you're good at making money. Now it's about, how can I keep more of it? How can I make this dollar that I've already earned not disappear from me unnecessarily? And too often when people hear that, they think, well, I got a budget. I got to take things out of my lifestyle. So I usually spend $10,000 a year on a vacation. I'm not going to go on the vacation. I'm going to take the $10,000. I'm going to put it into wealth. That to me is counterproductive, because vacation is about experiencing life and living a life, and it gives you relaxation. It probably gives you refreshment. It probably gives you more drive to make more money and more creativity. Like, I think those are important things. So when I'm saying be more efficient with your money, it's be more efficient with dollars that don't have to be expenses. For example,
so I'm going to interrupt for a second, because, like, I actually think there's a couple of things you said that are really important. One is,
I know, I have so many things I want to say. Yeah. Go, Jeff, go.
Yeah. So one is, you said that the compensation that you earn is really a reward for the value that you're putting out there. Essentially, like, if you increase your value to the world, you're going to make more money. And that's something I'm always telling people is, like, if you're not making enough, it's because you're not providing enough value. Like, if you give people value, you're going to make more money. Like, it just works that way. Like, we're rewarded for that. The more productive we are, the more creative we are, those types of things, they really turn the corner. But the other thing you said, which I think is really interesting, is, like, you were talking about not, like, cutting out your vacation, because, like, it can help you, like, be more focused. I think, like, what's the point of wealth if you can't vacation, right? Like, if you can't, and it's not vacation. Like, some people just prefer to stay home. That's fine. But if you can't do the things that you want to do, then what's the point of wealth? And, like, putting those things off reminds me of something that Jeff Alt said on our show. Jillian, you remember Jeff was the guy who walked the Appalachian Trail, and he got into a car accident right before he left on the trail, and it caused him to realize that he couldn't bank on his health because someday may never come. And that's really what you're talking about. You're saying, like, we have to live our life now because we don't know that we're going to have 75 to 85.
Yeah, no, I agree. But the one thing Justin said that I wanted to circle back on, you're telling people to get more skills. Now, you're the financial advisor, but it's you're advising them just, in the name, Big Life Financial. I'm advising them to have a big life. And if I come to you and I'm like, hey, I'm only making $50,000 a year, I don't know what to do, I'm stuck. What do you recommend I do? Do you recommend I go to college? Do you recommend free classes online? Do you recommend what are you recommending for me to up my game and provide more value?
No, excellent question. So I think that depends on what they're wanting to go. Because like if you have someone that wants to be like a medical professional, they probably are going to have to go to college to accomplish that. Like there are some medical coaching things, but if you want to be seen as like the person, you're probably going to have the letters behind your name that certify that to give you permission to speak on that subject. It doesn't mean you have to do that, but if you don't do that, you're going to have to acquire the skills through lots of reading and studying and watching medical things to make that happen. And then you have to make something happen in that space. But I think for me, the biggest skills that you can have are marketing, speaking, and like writing, creating content, creating things that people actually can consume and like consuming. So you have to improve your voice, because I didn't learn how to speak in school, and I'm still learning how to improve that even better. Like how can you speak in a way that people actually enjoy listening to you? Because if you do that, it doesn't matter what career it is, whether you're being an entrepreneur, like people are going to want to listen to you, or if you're in a business, like if you can speak in a way that makes you stand out, like there's something different about the way this person speaks or the way this person explains this. That's going to help you stand out amongst your peers because you have a skill that people don't focus on. So I would say writing, speaking, creation, like all of those type of skills that may or may not require college can all be acquired by us in some manner or other. To me, that's, and I guess to circle back is get a love for learning first. Like that's a skill. Get a love for learning. And once you have a love for learning, you can go any direction you want, whether it is college or any other direction.
So I love learning, and Jeff knows this. Jeff loves learning. So you don't have to teach me about love for learning. I'll learn, right now I'm learning all kinds of things I probably shouldn't be learning and should never show in public. For example, dancing. I dance like Elaine Boozler. So not Elaine Boozler, Elaine from Seinfeld. Yeah. I screwed up that joke. But my question for you is, yeah, I get the for the love of learning, but then once we understand, we've established, okay, we're going to make more money, we start making more money. What's the next step? What do you say to that client? Like, do you say like, what do you want to do? Or how does that conversation go?
Yeah. So the way that we go about it is we want to start with, they're making enough money. They're doing this. We want to show them how much money is leaking out of their life. Because the reason we focus on human life value, which goes into your skill and your deliverance to the world, is we feel that if you are allowing dollars that you don't know are leaking your life to leave you, then you're devaluing yourself.
Give us an example. Like, where is that? What do you mean?
Yeah. Let me just get. I'll get there in just a sec. So if you're devaluing yourself, and then you can not devalue yourself. Also, if you've enabled yourself to even do more, like it becomes this rush of adrenaline and realization that I am in control and I can do this and I can go make this difference. So let me give a few examples. There's two really key areas that I see people where money is leaving them in really obvious ways and they don't really realize it. So number one is unnecessary or unconscious spending. So when people increase their income, typically in 6 months' time, their expenses are going to be right up to where their income increased. And they have no idea what happened. Like they get a big raise or a bonus at work, or they just had the skills are finally coming and manifesting through and they're making more money. It still feels like they're in the same boat. The reason for that is unconscious spending. It just happens because life is so easy to spend. The money's there. It's in my checking account and I just let it go to these things and it disappears. And I'm in the same treadmill of a situation it was before. So the way that you stop that is you create automations around the way that cash flow flows in your life. So all cash flow flows through a system, which we call it flows through a reservoir, just like you have with our water management systems. All the rivers water flow and stop in a reservoir, and then they continue on to the cities. And so your money does that same thing. It flows through the reservoir. All extra stays, and all needed cash flow flows through to your spending. If you do this over time, as your income increases, the excess is going to get very large in there, and now you have built positive momentum, and it can go do something and grow and be used for wealth. The separation of these, even though it feels like, well, why can't I do that in my checking account? By separating it, it creates this dopamine reaction that, man, I'm creating positive momentum in the positive direction versus the dopamine reaction we get when we spend money, because it's separate, and this account doesn't allow you to spend money out of it, only for growth opportunities. So there's no checking account, there's no check, there's no debit card, there's no credit card attached to the reservoir. So I have to send it to my spending account to access it. But because it's separated, I am able to build momentum. And if you look at people that are doing this system over a 10, a 20, a 30-year period, this person is going to save millions more dollars because it's separated, because it's been captured, it's been left in the reservoir to grow and get.
Do you have a particular bank account that you'd recommend people to try to accomplish that?
So we have an phone application that allows easy access for this. So the phone application comes with a bank account that automatically has it all tied up to it. And the phone application allows you to create the automation. So if I'm making $10,000 a month, $10,000 pass into this bank account, and then I create automations to send down, we'll just say $8,000 to my checking account during that month, and $2,000 stay. But then if I make $15,000 the next month, $15,000 goes in, $8,000 automatically goes to my checking account, and the $7,000 difference is now captured inside the reservoir, and the phone application does it. You don't have to have the phone application. It just makes it super easy and automated.
That's really cool. Yeah. That's really
is this a simplification, right? Like you have multiple baskets where the money's going, or is like from a budgeting perspective, or is it just your checking account?
This is just like, to me, this eliminates the need for budgeting. Like, you don't, like, maybe you need to budget because you're an overspender and you spend more than you make. But like, this is
for what it's worth. That's Jeff here. He spends more than he should.
So the flow of money allows it just to stop. Those dollars are not for spending, and everything else comes here. And it just makes it super simple. Like in this checking account, I have $8,000. I can spend any of this however I want. I can spend it on anything because there's no guilt, because I've already saved the money. I saved it first before it got to me. So the mindset
it's kind of like old school, right? Like, I mean, it's actually it's common sense stuff, but it's like
not very complicated.
Yeah, it's like David Bach, the automatic millionaire. Just carve off a chunk of your income ahead of time and never see it. Yeah, right? Like, and over time you end up with a big bunch of.
Yeah, Jeff and I are like, I overspend on some things. I mean, like I have what I would call leakage. Leakage is like, for example, last night I planned on making dinner, and instead I found myself at a food truck buying dinner for everyone. But Jeff's leakage is like, I just decided to take a first-class trip to wherever next week.
Yeah, that's definitely a thing for me. Like, first class
trip to feed 5 people. His leakage is like.
Yeah. And for that situation, like if you're struggling with that, or that's like, if it's caught, the issue is if it's not a problem, like, because if you've saved money up here and you're spending this and it gets to zero every month, you're okay. Like, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
The issue is if you're going back up to the reservoir to grab money to spend, because now you've taken a savings dollar and used it as an expense.
Right.
And so typically is what we see is once we've created that divide, people use this as my reservoir for future opportunity. And when future opportunity arises, now I can start investing in things that actually get it, whether that's a business or other investments, and get it bigger. But the divide really helps people create the delineation, and it makes it so that most often they're not having to go to the reservoir to pull, because they get used to living on this amount, and they're used to that amount of money.
Yeah. Okay, so when we started, you said the first thing you could do is increase your income. I'm thinking the second thing you can do is create this divide, right? To create the reservoir, right? Is that a fair assessment? Are there additional steps that you recommend after that?
Yeah, specifically for the high income earner, I'm talking like if you're single and you're making 150, you're probably in this boat. Or if you're single and you're making 250, you're definitely in this boat. But if you're in the 150 to 300 range, you're probably paying more taxes than you need to. Like it's very, very likely that you are. And so you can put tax strategies into place to help you keep more of your money. That could be $10,000 on an annual basis. It could be for some people 50,000, or some people, if they're making a lot of money, it could be hundreds of thousands. But if you realize that I'm keeping $10,000 that was an expense and now gets to stay with me, that money is in the wealth reservoir. It hasn't left because it's stuck there. And if it keeps happening every year and we have 40 years of life, we've really kept a lot of money that was going to go to the government. And this is really minimal because most of our people can implement things that will keep them more than 10,000. It's just that's the example I like to use because 10,000 is an easy number to add up.
Yeah. I've paid way too much in taxes in my time. So
yeah, it's
one of the reasons I moved to Puerto Rico, so I would stop paying taxes.
Yeah, no, it's a really big important thing because it's not like we actually don't really drive people to zero. That's not our goal. Our goal is just help you keep more of it. So we're just trying to shave off money that doesn't have to be. So there's really easy things that people can implement into their life. Specifically, if you wanted to get a side hustle, like once you get a side hustle, you become a business owner. So you have access to the hundreds of tax deductions that are available to Amazon and Microsoft and every other business owner. Even though you're not that big, you still have access to them. So you can start changing lifestyle expenses into tax deductions. And that will help you just keep more of your money. Like that's super simple for the person that's making 150. Maybe they're a lawyer or they're an engineer, and they just have a small consulting business on the side. Like that small consulting business could eliminate tens of $20,000 in taxes very, very easily that they now get to keep in their life. They can then roll forward in other opportunity.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. Oh, that's interesting. I mean, I love this idea of, having a financial life now as opposed to when you retire. So let's talk about that. Like when you're talking to somebody, obviously we talk about, there's always numbers attached to everything, but it was always troublesome to me whenever how much money do you need to retire? Those calculators annoyed the living daylights out of me because it's like, well, how about how much I need to live for today, or how much do I need to, put my kids through college or whatever? And how do you even know that number? How do you know your kids are going to go to college, right? You don't know any of those things. And in my view, I mean, personally, I'm very educated. As a matter of fact, I'm working towards another master's degree, even though I don't need it. I just want to do it, but that's because I want to do it and it's free. But I don't think college is for everybody, right? I have advanced degrees. I was a college professor, but I absolutely don't agree that it's for everybody. So like when somebody comes to you and says something, like I'll just take me, for example, and goes, hey, I'm living pretty comfortably, but I have 3 kids and, I don't really have anything saved for them for college, which is true. I don't, because I don't know if they're going to, I'm afraid to save for them for college, to be perfectly honest, because I know when I save for them for college, it puts them at a great disadvantage for financial aid.
Yeah. No, I think to me, like parents paying for their kids' college is there's a lot of reasons people don't have enough for retirement, but that's a big reason why people don't have enough when they need to retire and they actually they can't work anymore because they're unable. If they pay for your kids' college, you are costing yourself hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars by paying for your kids' college. So the way I like to go about it is, can we be more creative and can we find an asset that will produce cash flow enough to help them pay for the college with the asset? So real estate is super simple for this because if they want to go to college, that's the other problem is too often people pay for or get ready to pay for their kids' college. And then the kid doesn't want to go to college, or they go to college and they stop going to college. And now the money truly has been wasted. So you want to look at it in an abundant mindset. And there's 2 ways to do that. Can an asset pay for it? Or can I help my child learn to create value so that they can pay for it themselves? Like, can they get a sales job in the summer that just allows them to pay it all in one swoop? Or can they learn to start a business so that they can start saving for themselves instead of me then, so that they're set up outside of college, so that they're not leaning on me as much. They're leaning on their own skills and their own traits and their own value so that they can start learning those. They don't have to wait till after they graduate college to do those things. So to me, then you can combine the real estate or another asset with that skill. So like they're buying it and they're getting into it and you're helping them, you're providing guardrails. So they're not like running off and not know what to do, but you're giving them that guidance. So to me, that's the way I like to attack the planning of college, because then it doesn't hurt you. And I realize that people they say, well, I want to give that to my child, but think about yourself at 90. And if you've given up at that point at 90, you've probably lost millions of dollars of income because you paid for your child's school. Now your kids are going to have to live with you. And like everything, like, does that, like, it causes a very repeatable treadmill cycle. And I would rather see people get off the treadmill and be in charge and have flexibility and solve problems without the need of other people.
No, that's such a great idea. I have so many ideas now. Like, even though I'm in real estate and that should have been so obvious to me. Now I have like all of these great ideas of what I can do when my kids go to college. For example, buying a bigger house in the town they want to go to college in, and then opening up to student housing and renting each room, and then letting my kid use that income to pay for their college as they are my, on-site management.
And now you have an asset after they're done with college. Like it's not dead income. Like it's not
right.
Like it's actually created more future for yourself.
Yeah, I love it.
The problem of your child. So
that is so cool.
You like to go about it.
Yeah. Well, honestly, Justin, this was amazing. And we never have financial people on here because a million trillion people, financial advisors, want to be on this program. And we just don't do it because it's like, well, I don't need people telling my audience I need to buy a ton of life insurance or something, or mutual funds.
Yeah, I mean, it might be fine for some people, and that's fine. But like, we're not trying to give that level of specificity, and people have to get their own financial advisors to figure that kind of stuff out.
Yeah, but I love the concept of life financial. It's just such a great idea that we're not focusing on retirement. We're focusing on living now.
Agreed completely. So let me ask one last wrap-up question, because I'm just curious about this. So say I come into your office, or however we set up a meeting, however we do that. What does that process look like? I mean, you're going to just start asking me questions about my finances and like dig into where I'm at, or what happens there? We're going to really focus on what's working for you. Like, what is already working? What are you doing well? Like, how is that going? And then where do you feel your biggest need is? And most often with the people we're working with, it's taxes. Like, most often the people are like, I just feel like I'm paying too much. Like, it just feels to me that there's something else out there that I need a solution for. And so that's generally where we go. It's not always, but typically that's the direction we go, is can we solve that problem? Because that is because honestly, most people are like, just give me one solution that I can implement right now that's going to give me the X result. Prove to me that you're worth. And over time, as we keep doing that, then we start to expand. Like, have you thought about it this way? Have you thought about this or that? And now we're adding in layers to why are you saving the taxes? Like, what's the point of saving $50,000 if it's just going to go from being a tax expense to just randomly spent into things that you don't know where it goes? Like, if you could take that and use it, maybe to go on a huge vacation or go on something that's going to give you a new skill or do something else with it. But typically that doesn't happen in meeting one. We're taking it one baby step at a time. And usually it's solve this X problem for me, and we solve that, and then we move in. So are you essentially functioning like a consultant then? Is that how it's set up, or is it something different than that? It's very dependent. So some of our tax strategies, we get paid as you execute the strategy on the tax. Like, there's a tax incentives. Like, for example, the R&D credit is something that we do in our office. The R&D credit's applicable to a variety of businesses in the country. Their accountant likely doesn't do it because it does require a specialty. So when we execute that R&D credit, we're taking a percentage of the credits we found. So we get paid there. But in other people's instances, we actually are consulting with them. And the way that we go about it is, again, we're unique in this, I think, at least I think I'm unique, is year one, we don't
we don't get paid for our consulting. We need to prove it to the client that we're actually going to bring the value that we're going to bring. And so when we bring them X result in saved taxes or X result in saved leakage, we then take a percentage of that up to in the 10,000 range. So then that 10,000 gets paid for the next year's time and energy that we spend, and it just keeps rolling forward like that. So that's how we get paid as well.
Excellent. All right, great. So anything else that you want to share with our audience before we wrap up? Because we're just about done here.
Yeah, I think to me is what happens with this, and this is why we exist, is when you can get this system down where all my money's flowing through, I'm keeping as many dollars in taxes, you have a lot of enabling power to just go do the things you want to do because it's solved. Too often people miss out on experiences because they don't have the money to do it. That's like the excuse they make. So I don't have to do that. But when you have this solution in place and it's just rolling on an annual basis in a nice circular style where it just keeps replicating itself, savings go into the reservoir captures the savings. I use those to buy more savings, and it just keeps repeating itself. Now you are enabled to go do what you are meant to do. And maybe you take the bigger risks because you have the system in place. And money isn't the main focus of your life, and you can focus on bringing the bigger impact, bringing more value, helping your children, being more present at home, growing your business bigger, whatever it is that your individual audience member does or wants to do, solve the money issue, and you can go do that with great security and certainty, which will allow you to be present there. And I think that's why we exist.
It's great. I love it. People want to reach out to you, they can go to biglifefinancial.com. And thanks so much for being here. Love it.